And now, from Grid Square Echo Mike 48, this is 100 Watts and a Wire.
Well, hello and welcome, everybody, to 100 Watts and a Wire. This is a weekly ham radio talk show. My name is Christian. My call sign is Kilo Zero Sierra Tango Hotel. I'm joined by Steve, W7UDI, who is out in, I think that was a faux pas, isn't it? If I give my phonetics, I should give your phonetics too, right? Isn't that kind of a faux pas on the air, and nobody really cares about that stuff?
Nah,
they care.
They care. Some care. Some will vapor lock over it. Others won't.
Yeah, I always do that because you always say W7UDI, and then I hear you give your phonetics, so you've got your own kind of cadence and pattern when you're working on the air too.
Mm-hmm. Well, I kind of rattle off pretty quick, and people are like, EDI, or DUI, or OUI? And I'm like, yeah, I do rattle it off pretty quick.
I hope everybody's doing okay. Good grief. And we talked about it a little bit in the pre-show that happens here. That's one of those things where you sort of have to be there. We leave a key on the doormat, and you're welcome to come in, and I'll do that here as well. Today we're going to share some stories about ham radio goals for 2021. If you have any, you're welcome to bring them in with us. During our show today, we'll get into all that sort of stuff, but we'll say hello to Andy. Andy came by. He said, I'm first.
First, Andy. Way to go, Andy.
You win. Marty, who has been up, like the great Chris Farley, the bit in the van by the river. Marty is
down
usually
by the river. Morning, Marty.
In the basement. Several hours before the show. He got you this time. So Andy is first.
Andy's the man.
Andy's a 2 Echo
from
0.
England. Yep.
Romeo
2
Echo
0. Yep. Good morning, Andy. Way to go.
We also have our feature is going to be coming up here in just a little bit, where we pick 2 stories in about 10 minutes and open them up a little bit. We'll be joined by Karen, KD2GUT, and Paul, WD9GCO. And a little bit of wackiness happening in the green room with these two. I told you, Karen's like, I need pecans. And I'm like, you're trying to give pecans to the squirrels. I know that.
Yeah, the squirrels need to eat good.
They're not cheap. And I'm like, are you going to eat these? Because I'll buy them if you eat them. And she's like, sure. And she's literally squirreling them away. Down in here, and there's a squirrel. Feeding them, they come out. You have to look her up. She loves to take care of the squirrels. Squirrel mama. Paul says he'll eat just about anything. And I'm like, that sounds great. Why don't you bring a little bit of stuff? Can you bring some stuff for the other guests that come back? Oh, sure. I don't know about this. So we've got big talent.
Bring a quiche.
And big riders. They need things. So that's coming up too. We'll check in with some news stories that are affecting radio a little bit later. So what did you do yesterday? You had, I know you said in the pre-show you had an accident to go to, and
well, we had a few calls to deal with, but it's so we got snow yesterday afternoon. It came in about an inch and a half or so, and it's the first real snow of the season. So people were kind of like not really paying attention. Their minds were elsewhere, and the foot was a little lead weighted, and so we've had some issues. But life in the fire service
doesn't take much. Did it interrupt your day with this was sort of your sleep?
No, just the evening. It was that last one interrupted my sleep. So
good morning to Dan.
Good morning, Dan.
Santa Dan. We've got Kevin is here.
Morning, Kevin.
Kilo November 6. Is it Lima, India, or India? India, whiskey. Boy, I'll work you on the air much slower than that. Kilo November 6, India, whiskey. It's those little eyes that got me. There's Dave, Kilo 1, Tango X-Ray United. Good to see you, Jeff. Jeff's here as well. Got a nice beard. You still got that beard going? Kilo Golf 7, Foxtrot, Oscar, Foxtrot. Happy holidays from Ron. Good to see you.
Good morning, Ron.
Ron is Whiskey 4 Oscar Romeo Hotel. And it's nice to see everybody. I hope everybody had a great Christmas. And just before that, of course, Hanukkah ended. If you were celebrating either, hope you were safe, got the things that you wanted. Today, we'll talk about some of our goals. And somebody threw a little curveball in the pre-show. Was like, what projects are you working on this week? And I was kind of stumped. I was kind of like, I'll ask the questions around here. I got real defensive. Yeah. Get your own damn show. What do you mean? What am I doing?
Well, he got a new soldering station, so it was like there's some motivation.
He wanted to come and do some work. He wanted to do some work there. Plus, it's warm. He's, he was in Arizona, so he's like, "What are you guys gonna do?" I'm like, I don't know.
Stay warm.
Take a nap, man. What are you talking about? Stop pushing me. I'm on vacation. William says, good morning. Kilo Delta 2, Quebec. Oscar, Juliet. Hello, William.
Good morning, Bill.
Good to see you. Oh, you know him like that. You can just go right to the Bill. Hey, Bill. All right. Paul, what do you call Paul? P? Hey, P.
Paul.
What's going on? Good morning. He's back over. Jeffrey, see, I go with the given name, the one his mama gave him. Good morning. And you would say, good morning, Jeff.
Morning, Jeff.
Here's Paul.
Good morning, Paul. 21 degrees.
YG. I wonder if you got snow. I wondered if you got a little bit of snow. So everybody's doing okay, and I guess we can. Good morning, Dwayne. It's nice to see you, Dwayne. Kilo 9 Lima Romeo Golf. Good to see everybody. All right. Kevin wrote a lot here about an accident. I don't know. We'll have to read. We'll read that one later because that's going to be a lot of words for our audio listening podcast people. But you can go back on the YouTube.
Time Roman. Yep.
Okay.
Eyes look like lower L's. Yep.
So we got about, let's talk here a little bit about our goals. And we kicked the idea around a little earlier in the week about, resolutions. And you were like, yeah, people tend to break the resolutions. Let's go with goals. So I think that is a good way to look at, what you're looking to do. And you're welcome to start to drop those into the chat. Also, I should say, we're giving away another antenna. I know we're giving away the 40-meter loop this week. We'll have to discuss later what we're going to give away for next week. But anytime you put your call sign in the chat during the show, you'll be eligible to win. And we'll pick a winner from last week in just a little bit. In terms of goals, if you want to put down some of your goals, actually, I'm going to lay out the key here for you, too, so you can come in. And probably after we do our 2 stories, we'll bring some people in and talk about goals. But, I think about it, and they can be periphery goals, too. How about ham adjacent goals, too, for me? And I have to say, your set, you added some lights back to your set. It looks gorgeous back there. He looks like a TV star. Look at this guy.
Oh, man.
But I'm thinking about, for me, and I think photography it's an interest of mine. I like to curate the thumbnails on the YouTube channel. I love to take photos and those sorts of things. I think I'm going to re-up my camera game, not only just for the show, but, buy something I can take and make videos with if I want to, or just on family vacations. I'm a little deficient on that side of the game. I mean, this is fine. This all works fine, but I could improve it. I could improve the gig. But when I go out and take vacation type photos, it's all on the cell phone, and they're good.
Oh, yeah.
They're good. They're really good. I think I use the cell phone more as a camera than I use it for an actual phone or a texting device.
Well, nowadays, I mean, everyone's talking about one of the first things they talk about when a new phone comes out. It's like, okay, how's the camera? And how many megapixels and the quality of it. And it's just amazing over the course of years, the cameras on phones. And you no longer have to lug around an SLR or anything like that. It's just, pull out the phone and snap away at your pictures. And in fact, our Hawaiian trip, that's all I did. I just used my phone to take all the pictures.
So portable, it's great. Yeah, and they are getting a little bit better, but I'm kind of flirting with the idea of upgrading that the video aspect now, and it's been pushed along a little bit because of the YouTube channel and then streaming out. So getting a good streaming type of camera, it's sort of ham adjacent in this case, but you're welcome to put your goals. And I got to defer back to the green room and these big brain talented people. in the green room. Karen says, "Oh, no bagels." Now, I got to get myself together, and I got to write this down. Bagels.
Bagels.
What kind of bagels? What kind of bagels? You got to pay the talent. You know what I'm saying? You got to feed the talent.
Oh yeah,
Bagels.
Plain old bagels is not gonna to work out.
This
And
is a
then
New
Karen
York girl.
from-
Okay, we got to
from the East Coast. There, she's gonna want a schmear, and she's gonna want some schmear on that bagel. So, and you just can't have any schmear. It has to be
to make the ladies happy. Women rule my whole world. They're the center of my universe.
Mm-hmm.
Pumpernickel. What are you doing, Steve? This is expensive.
Some pumpernickel.
This is expensive.
Wow.
We're going to ease into this. We get bagels. Okay, we'll get the bagels. So that's part of my goal. Steve, do you have a goal that you want to look forward to this year? I could add one real quick one. Is probably operating a little bit more, getting on and do it. I do a little chasing and a little pouncing around, but I'm kind of craving an old fashioned rag chew. Like I probably need to do some more of that. What are you thinking about?
Oh, I'd like to do more of those, but it's more on the outside front, on the antenna front, and I've been wanting to do something a little more substantial on 40 meters. So ultimately, want to throw up another tower and
really
3-element beam, but I think I'm going to take a different turn for the time being.
Really?
So
I didn't know you had a kind of like this little seed in there for a third tower. Really? Would you do it?
Yeah. Okay. I was looking at 2 HF towers and then the 1 VHF tower, which just went up, here recently. So, but I've been toying with it back and forth, and so dealing with a minimum 3-element 40 meter antenna, we're talking big tower. So it's
okay,
and that's a lot of hardware, and it's like, oh, maybe let's take a different route, and we'll talk about it a little bit later.
Yeah. Let's see. There was a couple of people messaging. Okay. Here's Paul, another person from New Jersey, is feeling Karen's request. Everything
pain,
please. Okay. I like those too, I got to say. And everything bagel and some cream cheese, man. That put me right on the bench. Hello from Portland. A good schmear.
Morning, Lee.
Ian says
a good schmear.
Okay, variety pack. I'm getting good information here.
Mm-hmm.
Getting good feedback here on the green room situation, because I don't want to be that guy, the host that doesn't give the people what they want. You need
to be the hostess with the mostest,
or the host at penis, Steve.
Yeah,
hostess is what I don't have. I can't be that. I guess I could.
Yeah.
Patrick says the goal for 2021 should be ditching the word rag chew.
Oh.
What does that even mean? It's only a thing in our world. Okay.
Yes, it is a thing in our world. Like many things in our world is kind of unique, like hi. Do you go out and say hi to when you're talking with your non-ham radio buddies, but when you're talking with another ham radio operator, hi. I was like, really?
Yeah, I have to. I'd rather hear the laughter in the hi situation.
Exactly.
And the rag Jew, I never got that in the early days of HF. I never understood it, but it's sort of adopted. For sure, it's been adopted.
Like Elmer's. We use Elmer's exclusively in the hobby. You don't hear it anywhere else. Elmering this, Elmering that.
And you did a little research on that whole Elmer thing. Do you remember what you read about? Because you were sharing some information from QST, was it, right?
Yeah, it started in 1992, if I remember right. I thought it went way back into the 20s, back in the day. And I was like, no, it was one guy just was being mentored by a buddy of his, and his name was Elmer. Mm-hmm. And he just goes, I got Elmered, and I just started chuckling. And because I've been Elmered all my life, because my dad, his first name was Elmer. But I thought that term went way back, but it started out, it was
we lost Steve-O? We lost Steve. We got a feed here. We'll work on getting Steve back here in a second. His dad's name was Elmer, we know, but talking about that situation from that story. Can you imagine the word Elmer sounds like it's been around forever? It sounds like, wow, that's just been around since what, the 30s or 40s, maybe the 50s, but the 90s, they did a story on that. And here comes Steve. We got you back up.
Okay.
Got you back up. Yeah, you
Yep.
got a little
hiccup
crazy
here in the internet. So
well, that's okay. I think the green room may have done a little bit of unplugging. So keep things in balance.
Hey, I need Dan, the IT guy.
Yeah, we got lots of IT guys running around here. So somebody plug this back in. Thank you very much.
So it was a article in How's My DX, I think, where it started. And then it started in QST, and then it just kind of went along. And I was really surprised, that it's not that old of a term. And, but it's unique to our hobby. And I'll pull it up and get the real deal on it and who the actual Elmer was. But the first time I heard Elmer, being Elmered, I kind of chuckled. I was like, well, yeah, that's my dad. And so I've been Elmered all my life,
So it comes from a real person with the name of Elmer, and not so long ago,
Exactly. That was the surprise that when I did the research or, looked it up, and it was like, really? It only goes back to I think it was 92 or something like that. So.
Mm-hmm. Well, good deal. Well, we're gonna take a break here. We're gonna come back with 2 stories. We'll talk that out. You're welcome to go ahead and put down your goals. We're gonna put down the information where you can come back to the green room and join the show. But coming up next, we're gonna do 2 stories, and we'll catch up back with you here on 100 Watts and a Wire. The ICOM 705 is your perfect QRP companion, as you have base station features and functionality at the tip of your fingers. But it's in a portable package covering HF 6 meters, 2 meters, and 70 centimeters. This compact rig weighs in at 1 kilo or just over 2 pounds. With RF direct sampling for most of the HF band and IF sampling for frequencies above 25 megahertz. It's got that large 4.3-inch color touchscreen with live band scope and waterfall. And the perfect accessory for the IC705 is the optional backpack. It's the LC192. It has a special compartment for the IC705 and room for accessories for soda activations or just a day in the park. Visit icomamerica.com/amateur for more information on all ICOM radios. Very good. And welcome back to 100 Watts and a Wire. This is Christian. And we started doing this last week. We are featuring 2 stories that are related to radio in some way. It could be, whatever kind of radio. It could be ham radio, it could be commercial radio and broadcast. I'm going to bring in Karen, KD2GUT, and Paul, WD9GCO, to talk about this week's stories. I love your backdrops. Everybody's looking good. And Paul, you've got your friend with you.
My office assistant, Gabriel.
How's everybody doing? A good Christmas, I hope.
Spent it on the air, working K2B, and finishing up 12 days of Christmas. Paul, you realize next week you know what I'm going to be holding.
No.
It's going to be rodent, but
we're going to get a squirrel appearance.
Okay.
Week?
Well,
or different kind.
Perhaps a different kind, yes.
We had a nice. Our tradition is my wife and I always go out to the chop suey joint for dinner, and then go see a movie. And clearly, this year that's not the wise thing to do. So we picked up Chinese takeout from the one place in town and watched Wonder Woman on TV.
Not a bad view. Not a bad view. Good for you. Well, Karen, what did we come up with this week? There's always that story that leads off, and the one that we should be focusing on, or at least thinking about. What did it for you this week?
Okay, we have something struck me as very interesting in that Congress has empowered the FCC to, in essence, deputize enforcers, property owners, landlords, to keep an eye out for pirate radio activities. Now, what strikes me as interesting is the FCC just a few years ago was closing its field offices and consolidating them. And clearly, we know the FCC has a lot of enforcement to do. Just turn on the radio, you can hear what needs to be done in terms of enforcement with hams, even hams behaving badly or questionably. In this case, the FCC, through what's called the Pirate Act, which was passed by Congress, allows the FCC to lay very, very hefty fines. We're talking upwards of $2 million against landlords. If they permit or knowingly permit or turn a blind eye to pirate radio happening on their premises. Now, in New York, we have, and probably elsewhere, there's the saying, if you see something, say something. Okay, that came after 9/11. You see a strange package, you see somebody acting suspiciously, that's fine. I think people need to be vigilant. What's different about this is that you see something, say something, you're not going to be hit with a $2 million fine if you fail to report it or don't act as responsibly as the authorities want. But here, landlords will be fined. The chief of the Enforcement Bureau is coming down very hard on this. They have made an example of I think there were two property owners, if I remember correctly, in New York City. Of course, it has to start in New York, right? And they're in the borough of Queens, and they're being charged with not doing their diligence, not watching to see that there are pirate radios operating in there. So the reason this one stuck in my mind, we led this week's report with, is because it opens a door. We always look for stories, not just for reporting what has happened, but for perhaps giving a hint of what might come later. If the FCC can start cracking down on property owners, non-broadcast, non-radio entities, what's next? So I felt this was something our listeners to the newscast needed to hear.
And I think this, in a way, kind of ties in with the new volunteer monitor program, but that's different because the program that Riley Hollingsworth is in charge of is working as eyes and ears for the league, but they don't, they can send letters and stuff, but they don't do the actual hard enforcement. Whereas this is the FCC going, landlords, this is on you. And this potentially opens up a slippery slope to go, say, the board of a homeowners association, saying, well, if you've got a ham that's causing some problems, that's on you. And then the HOA is just going to go, all right, we're done, and shut it all down no matter what, which, as somebody who lives in a condo, is, luckily I'm president of my HOA, and I'm able to educate them as to what we do and what we don't do. And that's how I'm allowed to have antennas, because I've taught them that we're not evil. And so I've opened it up for other hams if they move into our block to be able to do that. But if you get the FCC coming down on an HOA board to say, if it goes that direction, then what are they going to do?
What do normal hams do in this case? I guess it always will come back to what should we be doing? What should we be thinking about, as this new thing starts to crop up?
Well, that's a tough one. This is it's hard to say. This is really just the beginning. This is the first of what will probably be several examples made. I think we first need to see what happens with this case. This may be the trial balloon. There likely will be more. Whether this gets broadened, I don't know. I would be very interested in the origins of this piece of legislation called the Pirate Act, which targets specifically pirate radio. But I have to wonder if with the FCC having fewer physical brick and mortar enforcement locations and being more consolidated, if this is not a template for something we might see going forward. We just don't know. We keep an eye on this one for sure.
Paul, a final thought?
I know, I agree. I mean, it's something we really have to, and this is where the league comes in play. Something they really need to keep an eye on, because they got to make sure that this doesn't start to head down that direction of the FCC just essentially privatizing enforcement and it's going, you know what, none of this is really our concern. You guys take care of it. And then, and when you tell just regular people you take care of it, that's when there's a potential for things to go horribly wrong. So
what could go wrong with story number 2? Karen, what's happening in story 2?
Oh, we love story number 2. Story number 2 tickles the imagination. It's not the first of its kind. People, I can see you out there. You're nodding your head going, another one. But this is a story about mysterious radio signals from beyond. Could it be alien life forms? This is the best kind of DX. This is DX to the max.
And I
was unexplained. Go ahead.
I want to know, though, if I get this signal, first off, how do they QSL? And
you have to send,
where do I send the card to? Because I don't want this EQSL thing. I want an actual card. So
now you have to send an envelope with a lot of stamps. Start collecting, Paul. If you've got the beam and the power and you can make the contact, just start saving the stamps.
I'm gonna have to talk to Elon about sending my card on one of the next Falcon launches.
There you go.
SpaceX should get it there. I can't imagine.
That's the new QSL bureau for those really far contacts is SpaceX. Yeah, okay. I can go with that.
I can't imagine.
This signal was picked up in New South Wales in Australia by the Parkes telescope, and they couldn't explain it. They gave it the name BLC-1. It was a narrow band emission that they've been studying for a while because they picked it up a year ago, but they've been analyzing it, working slowly to figure out what it is. And it comes from the direction of a red star, red dwarf star near Proxima Centauri. And initially,
can you imagine calling CQ for a year?
Oh, I felt like it yesterday. Try being on the air Christmas Day.
That's true. There were some times with K2L that I'm like, really? Is anybody hearing my signal?
I gained a year of my life yesterday, so yes, I can relate. Now the scientists, they feel this. Initially, they felt this could be yet another possible proof of extraterrestrials on the air. Maybe they have an FCC that's deputizing. It could be pirates. We really don't know.
Would that be
but they look.
That would be Yoda.
Actually, you know something? I worked a station. I was all excited. It was Yoda. And then I found out, no, it was Yota.
No, different Yoda.
Yeah. Right, different. Yeah. So that's an exciting QSL card to get for sure. Yeah. From the Death Star or any of those, they're definitely on my list. North Korea pales compared to the Death Star.
Exactly.
You got that right. The signal, what fascinates them this time is that the direction of the signal, it comes from planet orbiting Proxima Centauri, one of which has a climate, guess what, just like Earth. So the possibilities that this suggests, again, yes, the story is sort of just for fun, but no, it's also science, because can you prove it? Can you disprove it? So it like I say, it tickles the brain.
Well, thank you both. Thank you both. That is something to think about. My thanks to Karen, KD2GUT, and Paul, WD9GCO, for bringing the stories this week. Appreciate you, and I hope you had a great holiday break. Yeah. I hope you get a couple more days off as well.
I don't know about Karen. My green room table was much better this morning.
Well,
I had
There
I
you
had
go.
a ham and cheese quiche and some hash browns and a little apple tart. So it was very fancy.
No
Okay.
bagels. I'm sorry.
No
I'm
bagels.
fixated. Bagels.
Okay.
No
well,
bagels. No bagels.
I'm Paul, with all due respect, I'm going to have to take care of the ladies' needs first.
Yeah.
You can pull back whatever, assemble whatever. She needs bagels. I got to do
No,
that.
don't
Thank
please
you. Thank you,
keep Karen happy. We all need Karen happy.
If she says you're done here, you're done here. But
Because Newsline falls apart if Karen's not happy.
that's right. That's right. Well, thank you guys. We're going to flip the record and head into side 2. Have a great weekend, and we'll catch up with you again
Yep.
in the
Next
new
year.
year. Doesn't that sound crazy?
I know.
73 to you guys.
All right, 73.
73.
To join the 100 Watts in a Wire community, visit 100wattsinawire.com.